The spoiler-filled review for Ocean's 8. Also, it's kind of a spoiler for Ocean's 11 as well, so if you haven't seen Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 8, then click out of this video right now, because it's going to spoil both movies to a degree. Ocean's 11 not as much. I just need to explain a little bit about that movie to explain why Ocean's 8 works. So if you haven't seen either of Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 8, click out now. You have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler warning over. From this point on, you have only yourself to blame if the movie gets spoiled for you. Okay, so going in, I did not really expect much to this movie because I thought 12 was just boring. I thought Ocean's 12 was just so boring, except for like the one part with Julia Roberts and Bruce Willis. That was the only good part, really. And then Ocean's 13, it was okay. So I was like, alright, I don't know. Is Ocean's 8 gonna work? I'm gonna turn the light off. It's worse lighting. Lighting over here is really bad. If I can move this. Get in the chair. Okay, anyway, back on topic. You know, when they announced that it was going to be Ocean's 11, but with a female cast of male cast, I thought, well, that didn't really work for Ghostbusters, so I don't know. But then I saw the cast, and I thought, okay, this is a talented cast. It'll work. This will be really, really well done. And it was. It was still fun. It had all the heart of the original. It was still super fun to watch. I really loved it. And I liked how it was connected to Ocean's 11 instead of just being its own thing, because that was a problem with Ghostbusters, was it had zero connection to the original, and even when they had the cameo appearances from the other cast members, they were just there, and they weren't even their characters from the original. They were just themselves as the actors, which kind of felt like a slap in the face to fans of the original Ghostbusters. But here, there were cameo appearances from 2 of the members, at least. 2 that I saw, at least. There may have been more, but as far as I know, it was 2. It was the really old guy whose name I can't remember. He plays a museum curator. Is he a museum curator? No, I think he's. I don't think he was a museum. I think he was a visitor to the Danny Ocean's gravesite, because at the beginning of the movie, they tell you right off the bat that George Clooney's character, Danny Ocean, is dead, so that they can use his sister, Debbie, as the new team. So that was kind of interesting. It wasn't just like, well, we're switching it. No, there's connection. She's the sister. We're not just changing the genders as like an alternate universe or something. But yeah, so we had like him at the gravesite, and then we had, at the very end, we had the Chinese guy whose name I can't remember. There's too many characters in Ocean's 11. The only one that I really remember is like Danny, and that's it. But yeah, I don't even remember half the people in this movie, what their names are either. So, anyway, yeah, the Chinese guy from Ocean's 11. Cate Blanchett's character breaks him out of prison as well at the end. So I think that they're trying to cross over the 2, but I'll get to that later. Anyway, so the story for this one, obviously, if you've seen it, you know the story, but if you haven't seen it, you want to spoil it for yourself anyway, I'm just going to go through it right now real quick. Basically, they're going to the Met Gala because they want to steal a necklace from Anne Hathaway. I forget why. I think because the necklace is valued at like $50 million or something, and they're going to divide the necklace into parts. So kind of the same thing, where we're going to rob the bank, but instead of the bank, it's the necklace. So kind of the same thing. But anyway, they end up succeeding, obviously. But the interesting thing is that even though they end up succeeding, Anne Hathaway comes in at the end and joins their team, which I knew to some degree was probably going to happen, but it still kind of surprised me, which makes me think for Ocean's 12, or sorry, not for Ocean's 9, rather. For Ocean's 9, they're going to set up maybe another cast member. Here's what I'd like to see for Ocean's 9, if this ends up happening, because I would like to see it happen. You have Julia Roberts join their team, and be like, well, my husband's dead, so I'm going to continue his legacy, and then like near, like maybe halfway through the movie, if not the very end of the movie, Danny Ocean shows up. Because obviously they're setting up that he's getting his old crew back together, or rather, they're getting his crew back together, so I'm thinking he's probably not dead. I'm thinking he faked his death, because you never see a body or a funeral or anything that actually legitimately says he is dead. They leave it open. I don't know if they did that because George Clooney wasn't sure if he's going to come back, and this way they have an out just in case he does try to come back. I don't know. Or if he really is dead. I don't know. My theory is that he's not. I would like to see him come back, and then they have like the male team versus the female team kind of heist competition, where who can rob the most or can rob the bank fastest or something. So kind of like Ocean's 12, where they were competing with that other thief. But it would actually be good, because stuff would actually happen in this movie. That's my pitch for the next one. But also, the trailers were kind of misleading, because it made me think that James Corden was going to have a bigger role than he actually did. He's in the movie for maybe 10 minutes? I don't even think that long. He's a very minor character, which surprised me, because James Corden is a big star. I'm surprised that he doesn't show up till like 75% of the way through, maybe longer. And he's in it for, again, maybe 10 minutes at the most. That's a conservative estimate. Yeah, because he plays an insurance agent investigating what happened to the diamond necklace after they steal it off of Anne Hathaway. So I thought that his talent could have been a little bit more used. I feel like his character could have been expanded more. But I still enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It had a lot of good twists that I didn't even see coming, and it was really smartly written. Like, Ocean's 11 was very smartly written. This one was smartly written as well. By the way, not the same director. Stephen Sondheim actually retired from directing after he released Logan Lucky last year. But he does have either producer or executive producer on this. I forget which. But you can definitely tell he had some influence, because it has his fingerprints all over it, so to speak. So I really thought this movie was fantastic. Great date night movie. If you're going to go take your girlfriend or your wife to see it, it's really good. I saw it alone, but I enjoyed it. And I was pretty much the only one in the theater. It was like an older couple that was like a row ahead of me and then like off to the left. And then there was like a mom and her two daughters behind me, but like 3 rows behind me. Granted, I went at like 11 in the morning almost yesterday, so it wasn't that big of a crowd, which it's summer vacation, so I'm surprised it would be, the crowd. It's going to be crowded when Incredibles 2 comes out, though. I'm calling it now. It's going to be really crowded when Incredibles 2 comes out in a couple days. But yeah, overall, very fun, very worth it. It is not to the level of Ghostbusters, where the acting is terrible and it's just unrecognizable as the same story. This one actually has something to do with the original, and it's very good. It's a worthy successor, finally, to Ocean's 11, which, by the way, you do not need to watch 12 and 13 to understand this one, because they never mention anything that happens in those movies. It's almost like they didn't happen. Kind of like with Mission Impossible 2, how that doesn't really happen anymore, or how Jurassic Park 2 and 3 didn't really happen anymore because of Jurassic World. They basically decanonized it, in a sense. So you would go like Ocean's 11, and then you'd go, what was it, 2001 is when that movie came out, so it'd be like 2011, and 12, 13, 14, about 17 years, give or take. So it'd be like Ocean's 11, then ends, it'd be like, okay, 17 years later, here's what happened. So that's a really good way of doing it, I thought. And yeah, I'd like to see at some point a crossover between the two movies, because that's what they're setting up. I really enjoyed it. And I gotta give a shout out real quick to the score, real quick before I go. The score was fantastic. There was a part kind of at the end where they're explaining how they pulled the heist off that sounded very reminiscent of the Man from U.N.C.L.E. soundtrack, which I love. And then I get home and I find out it's the same composer as Man from U.N.C.L.E. And he also did the King Arthur Legend of the Sword score, which I also loved. So I'm hoping that that composer gets more work in the future, because I love his scores. Like, as soon as I got home, I'm like, I gotta find the soundtrack on YouTube. I gotta listen to it. And yeah, especially the credits music, so good. It was very 50s spy style kind of music, like Man from U.N.C.L.E. was. Perfect scoring. Absolutely phenomenal movie. And they also had a little bit of a shout out to, or I guess not shout out, references that you'll only get if you're like a movie aficionado like I am, or if you're like really knowledgeable about it. So in the original Ocean's 11 from 1960, the character of Danny Ocean was played by Frank Sinatra, which they reference in, is it Ocean's 12? that there's a reference to Frank Sinatra somewhere in that movie, I believe. But anyway, in this movie, they have the song "These Boots Are Made for Walking," which is sung by the daughter of Frank Sinatra, which I thought was a nice little nod to that. It was very kind of Easter eggy, you know. Only those that are like really obsessed with it can understand. So that was really good. Very fun movie, fantastic. I loved it. Probably one of the smartest movies I've seen this year. Definitely worth checking out. Go see it. And I will be back in a couple of days with my review of Incredibles 2. Crossing my fingers it's good. From the trailer, it doesn't look that good, but I don't know. Maybe it's a case of bad marketing. It seems to have a really high percentage of Rotten Tomatoes, so I'll go with my expectations low. It may surprise me. I'll let you guys know.